There's no standard SOW. It's a document tailored for the commodity, requirements, and the project. Your aim is to develop a well-defined set of requirements that provides clarity and is right for your needs. Always ask how you can avoid ambiguity to reduce the risk of dispute and to mitigate scope creep, but still allowing for flexibility. There are two basic types, a descriptive SOW and a functional SOW. The descriptive SOW describes in detail what has to be done without mentioning any specific brands or manufacturers.
I only use this when I genuinely know the requirement better than the supply base.
Correct, but the functional SOW defines the output you want without getting into the details of how this should be achieved. But you don't have to stick to one. It's common to combine descriptive and functional specs into one scope of work.
So let's break down the process. Start by identifying requirements. You need to explicitly define what is included and be clear on what is excluded. Next, you need to determine the structure of your scope of work. This is how it's presented and read. After getting stakeholder input, you can build your SOW, making sure you avoid overspecification. Finally, communicate and get sign-off. The process is simple, but how do I write a great scope of work?
Let's put this into practice for an office cleaning service. The requirement is for the office space to be clean. First, you need to get involved early. Ask which stakeholders you need to approach. Are they already involved and developing specifications, or do you need to get them on board? For our office cleaning example, this affects everyone, but not everyone can be involved. Get representatives. You may ask budget holders for their nominations. Equip yourself with information about the supply market and guide development of the SOW. Next, ensure all parties involved understand the SOW. Whose input, both internal and external, do you need? Will you get caught out by any unique specifications that cannot be easily or widely delivered? You can also have suppliers submit a performance plan. This will give you an indication on how they think they'll be able to deliver on the SOW.
What about workshopping the SOW?
You can. This can be done prior to or during sourcing with internal and external parties, depending on how much information you want to share. The idea here is to challenge the scope requirements, which can then lead to overall improved outcomes. Say your workshop identifies that because several desks in your office are unattended for days at a time, your cleaners are doing some unnecessary work. The scope can then be reduced, resulting in the same level of cleanliness but at a lower cost.
So it's important to include regular reviews as situations can change.
That's right. Set dates when this is going to happen, how long it should take, and who's responsible. Also use the industry standard as your baseline wherever possible. This will save time and money. Finally, develop a market-ready SOW, which you can then provide to different suppliers to get their responses. Sometimes you won't be able to write a complete document. So, describe the problem you need solving or the challenge you are facing. This could lead suppliers to provide you with their own solutions. The goal, as always, is to achieve more cost-effective, innovative, and value-adding outcomes.
The final thing to know is how much detail needs to be in a scope of work.
Say you've requested the design and construction of a sports stadium within a fixed budget. What high-level and specific requirements do you need to include? Remember, this is a major capital investment. Here are just a few.
At the other end of the scale, say you're requesting cleaning services. The level of detail in this first description is too prescriptive. A better example would be this. Here you also need to include a definition of what is considered clean. Services can be very subjective, but still need to be agreed and clear to avoid ambiguity and misaligned expectations. So to sum up, preparation and communication is key when creating a scope of work document.
That's right. Ask for input from stakeholders and suppliers, but be wary of unique or unnecessary specifications. No matter what the requirements, there is a process needed to develop and formalise your SOW, and it requires you to clearly define what you want and expect.